Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to Football Discussions. Today, I'm going to be doing my mock draft 2.0. Last mock draft, there's a lot of mistakes on my part. Obviously, forgot to even include the Jacksonville Jaguars, so we're just going to scratch that one, move on to 2.0. This is post Ramsey trade, so we have the Jaguars picking twice. The Dolphins have 3 picks. The Raiders have 2 picks for that Khalil Mack trade, and much more that you'll see in this video. Order again is loosely based on what it is right now and what I think is going to happen a little later throughout the year. So don't focus too much on the order, but on the actual picks. If this does end up being the order, then go me, but I seriously doubt it. So let's get started with the number 1 overall pick. We have the Miami Dolphins getting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Very good player. I know there's a lot of speculation on him, whether he's actually good or if he is just surrounded by this all-star talent and that allows him to perform well on the field. I think it's a mixture of both. I think he's very talented by himself alone. I do think the best quarterback in this draft class is Justin Herbert from Oregon. However, I just don't see the Dolphins going a different direction other than Tua Tagovailoa. They're already bought. It seems as if that front office has already bought into the hype, the tank for Tua hype. So I just think that they will go in this direction and try to get their franchise quarterback. Moving along to number 2, I have the Redskins selecting wide receiver Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama. A very good receiver, very good route runner, just such a good talent. Probably one of the best receivers we've seen in a very long time coming out of the draft, and that's why I think it's completely fine that the Redskins will take him at 2. It makes sense to me. I know that's not a frequent thing that we see happen a lot in the NFL, but I do think it is going to be like that this year. This wide receiver class is very deep. However, I just think it's too hard for the Redskins, who have been looking for a franchise receiver, to pass up on Jerry Jeudy here. With the 3rd overall pick, I have the Bengals selecting Justin Herbert, quarterback out of Oregon. I mentioned him a little earlier. I think he's the most NFL-ready quarterback. He could have left Oregon last year in 2019. However, he stuck around for the 2020 season in Oregon, and I think he'll be drafted 3rd in the 2020 draft. I just don't see the Bengals being able to pass up on him. I think Herbert's such a good talent, and like I said, is so pro ready, and I think he'll fit in perfectly in Cincinnati. If the Bengals decide to hang on to AJ Green before the trade deadline, which we'll see in the next coming weeks, then he'll automatically have 2 really good threats in Boyd and Green to throw to. I think that's just going to help ease him into the NFL even more, and I really like this pick for the Bengals. With the 4th overall pick, I have the Jets getting probably one of the best edge rushers we've seen since like Khalil Mack or Von Miller coming out of the draft, and that's Chase Young. Such a good talent, just great finesse moves, very fast off the ball, has a jump to him that is almost unseen nowadays in college. Better than Bosa in my mind, who came out of Ohio State last year. I'm just really excited to watch Young play in the NFL, and the Jets are lacking a pass rush. Now, I know they have Leonard Williams. I know they got Quinnen Williams for that interior pressure. I just don't think any of these guys are experts or are going to be very consistent in getting double-digit sacks. I do think Chase Young's going to be that guy in New York, and I think he's going to take that Jets defense to a whole nother level, make them very scary with Chase, Quinnen, Leonard, C.J. Mosley, Jamal Adams. It's just going to be a fun defense to watch in 2020. With the 5th pick, I have the Dolphins, obviously via the Steelers and the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, getting another wide receiver here. I was contemplating whether to go defense here. Could they go AJ Epineza, get their edge rusher of the future? But I think if Chase is off the board, they're going CD, and they're going to if Chase and Jeudy are off the board, they're going to go CD. He's just such a good player. If you watch that Texas game, I think that's really going to boost his draft stock. That's where you saw what CD's all about. So why not pair Tua up with a great young wide receiver to start that new branded Dolphins franchise out, and get CeeDee Lamb and just really bring that offense to maybe a whole nother level if they can, if Tua is the answer there. So I really like the CeeDee Lamb pick only if Chase and Jeudy are off the board. With the 6th pick, I have the Denver Broncos going with the offensive tackle of the future, one of the best offensive line prospects we've seen in a very long time out of the draft, and that's going to be Andrew Thomas. just such a good offensive lineman. I mean, if you just watch his tape, you know what I'm talking about. Even if you sit down next Saturday, just watch the Georgia game, whoever they're playing, and you'll see what I mean. I mean, he just performs week in and week out, so talented. And I mean, I do think Denver is going to buy into Drew Lock, see what he can do next year, and you got to be able to protect him, something that Broncos team is lacking. Obviously, Bowles is not the answer. You did get young, I think, offensive guard he's listed at Dalton Reisner last year in the draft, so why not pair him up with Andrew Thomas and make this offensive line start to have a foundation and maybe be able to protect the quarterback and even open up some holes for Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman to run through. With the seventh overall pick, I have another offensive tackle going, and that's Tristan Wirfs. Just a guy, I don't think he's on Andrew Thomas's level, but then again, I don't think many people are on Andrew Thomas's level. But again, with the Cardinals, they have this young quarterback like the Broncos do in Kyler Murray, and you got to be able to protect him. I was debating whether to go defense here, but I think they're putting their entire franchise in the hands of Kyler Murray, so it just makes sense for them to go offensive line and defend him just a little better. With the eighth overall pick, the Falcons going with Derek Brown, just sealing that defensive front finally. They have the edge rushers, whether it's Takk McKinley. The linebackers are good. You just need that defensive tackle in place to secure that defense. And I think Derek Brown's the guy. Just very, very skillful off the ball. Knows how to get to not only the running back, but he's also gotten to the quarterback throughout his Auburn career. So I think he'll be able to bring a new element of run stopping and pass rush over there in Atlanta. And like I said, just seal the defensive line. With the ninth pick, I know this pick is probably going to be uh, up for disagreement, but I do think the Titans are going to get Jalen Hurts. And the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense. He's that prototype Titans quarterback, the one that they wanted with Marcus Mariota. Obviously, that isn't going to work out. He was just benched this week for Ryan Tannehill, which only means one thing to me, and that's that they're moving on in the quarterback room in Tennessee. And I think Hurts is going to fit in perfectly there. He has my vote for Heisman so far throughout the season. Very careful with the ball, and this is the best we've ever seen him throw. That's what Lincoln Riley does. He takes kids like Hurts, puts them in an offense where they're able to utilize their arm, where he wasn't able to utilize his arm in Alabama. He is now. And he really got to showcase it this year throughout the midseason point where we are right now. So I do think it makes sense for the Titans to go Hurts. It just all added up in my head when I thought about it, and I think this is going to be a pick that they're going to have to consider. I think there's going to be three options that they're going to go through, and that's Jake Fromm, obviously from Georgia, Joe Burrow, who's lit on or just came out of nowhere on the screen, and of course Jalen Hurts. And I do think they're going to go with Hurts. He has that running ability that the Titans like, and he obviously is a good passer, is what he's shown us at Oklahoma so far. So the Titans are going to get Hurts. With the 10th pick, and I'm really excited about this pick, the Browns have all the pieces in place. They just need a little more push. I think Baker's only in a sophomore slump. Don't get me wrong, he is playing bad, and I've been a fan of his forever. When he was in Oklahoma, I loved him, and I think that next year he'll finally get into his groove. And I'm not saying he'll be the best quarterback of all time. I'm not saying he'll even be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but he'll be good enough to the point where Cleveland's offense can start to move the ball. He won't turn it over in the red zone as much. And I think Grant Delpit is going to be the final piece of this Cleveland defense to just elevate them from your average, mediocre team to a playoff team. And Delpit is so good. I mean, he racked up 75 tackles, 10 plus tackles for loss. I think it was like 7 picks, and even threw 5 sacks in there as well. So last year, that is, and he's playing very well this year. I think, and he's obviously wearing that number 7, which on LSU means you're the best player on the team. So I do think Delpit is going to be the solution in Cleveland, really bring that defense and that secondary. Once they get Denzel Ward back healthy next year, I think it's going to be a very scary team, and I'm excited to see how this plays out. With the 11th overall pick, I have the Giants getting edge rusher A.J. Epineza out of Iowa, just an overall beast. Like I compared Wirfs, the other Iowa guy, to Andrew Thomas, I'm going to compare Epineza to Young. Young is on a whole new tier of edge rusher, and Empanesa is very good, but he's not quite on that Chase Young tier. Needless to say, the Giants need some sort of pressure on the quarterback. It is lacking. The best pass rusher they have right now is B.J. Hill. That's obviously not the solution. I think Empanesa is going to fit in perfectly here in New York and really bring that pass rush, something that they haven't seen in a while there in New York, and I'm excited for it. With the 12th overall pick, obviously the Jaguars just traded away the best cornerback in the NFL. You can argue that all you want. I know people are going to say Gilmore because that's what the internet says. But honestly, when it comes down to it, skill-wise, I do think Ramsey's the best cornerback in the NFL. And I think they're going to replace him here with cornerback from LSU, Christian Fulton. Now, Fulton obviously probably won't be Jalen Ramsey because that's very hard to do. But I do think he can solve some of their cornerback problems now. Bouyer's growing in age. I don't think he's going to be that great for that much longer. And then the secondary past Bouye isn't very good. Um, that's not true. They do have some pieces, but I think Fulton is going to get to Jacksonville, play right away, making an immediate impact, great ball skills, and I think he'll fit in perfectly in Jacksonville. And with the 13th overall pick, another quarterback flying off the board. It's going to be Joe Burrow to Bruce Arians' offense in Tampa Bay. As much as Bruce loves to claim that he's going to stick with Jameis, blah, 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 the front office is going to be like, sorry, Bruce, that's actually not going to happen. Jameis sucks. He throws 5 picks in one game. Why isn't he benched yet? And they're going to be like, we're going to take Burrow in this draft class, and I think it's the perfect move. Burrow has, like I said earlier, just come out to the screen out of nowhere, played amazing ball. He's so careful with the ball. He has like 3 incompletions per game, I'm pretty sure right now, which is insane in and of itself. And then put that alongside his yardage and his touchdowns, and it's crazy. He's playing so well. He was an average quarterback last year, and he's a fantastic quarterback this year. Like I said about Hurts, he's definitely in the top 2 or 3 of that Heisman race right now. And I'm excited to see how he plays against teams like Bama, and then if they make it to the SEC championship, Georgia. Love what I saw out of Burrow against a very good passing defense, Florida, last week. And I think he's just going to continue to make a case that he should be a first-round talent and should be even a top 10 talent. With the 14th overall pick, I have the Raiders getting their cornerback of the future, Jeffrey Okudah. I know I botched that name, pardon me, but I really like this kid. Great ball skills, like I said about Fulton. I think he's actually the best cornerback in this draft. I think that Fulton just fits the Jags scheme a little better. But I'm a big fan of Okudah's. Just such a fantastic player, and I think he'll slide right into that Raiders secondary, that young secondary nicely, whether it's Curly Joseph. I think they just got Jonathan Abrams out of the last draft class. So those safety positions are set, and now just get a very good cornerback to slide right in there. And I think this Raiders secondary is starting to become something. With the 15th overall pick, the Chargers are going to get probably the most athletic player in this class. Just an overall specimen. You'll see what I mean when the combine happens. He's just going to kill it in every category. He's going to be this year's DK. It's just such a versatile player. And you can see right there, he plays linebacker and strong safety over at Clemson, has the cover skills, and has the hit power and the vision to play linebacker and be a leader on a defense. And that's what the Chargers are really missing right now on that defense. Obviously, that line's great with Joey Bosa leading the way over there, and Melvin Ingram, obviously. But I do think Simmons is going to really elevate this Chargers defense, and I'm excited to see wherever he winds up in the NFL, how he plays. But like I said, just an athletic specimen, so versatile, and I really think Chargers are a great fit for him. With the 16th overall pick, I do have the Cowboys getting Bryce Hall. Obviously, there's the threat that they might lose Byron Jones this year in free agency if they don't re-sign him. And obviously, if they don't re-sign Dak, which Dak is asking for far too much money at the rate of which he's playing, and then they could go quarterback, probably get Fromm in this scenario. But I do think they'll figure out a deal with Dak, and I think they're going to shore up that secondary and get Bryce Hall. Very, very talented cornerback. At the start of the season, he was the number 1 cornerback on my board. However, Fulton and Okudah's play throughout the season has elevated them over him, but I do think he'll be a great fit in Dallas and really shore up that secondary. With the 17th overall pick, I would love the Lions to go secondary here. Get a guy to play alongside Slay for a couple of years and then take over Slay's position. However, the three best cornerbacks have just flown off the board. I think it's a little early for them to jump on the Trayvon Diggs bandwagon or the Paulson Adebo bandwagon. So I think they're just going to get that offensive lineman that shouldn't fall. Tyler Biadasz should not fall to 17 in any other draft class. It's just the fact that this draft class is so unbelievably stacked with skill positions that it's going to be hard for teams to pass up on those guys. But I do think that the Lions will get the center of the future or guard. He can play both. Tyler Biadasz, love what I see out of him at Wisconsin. Very talented player. And I think that he's going to be a great fit in Detroit. With the 18th overall pick, I have the Vikings shoring up their defensive line with Raekwon Davis. The edges are good, set by guys like Anthony Barr. But I honestly think Raekwon is going to be a beast in Minnesota if he goes there. They've been lacking the defensive tackle position ever since Sheldon Richardson left to the Browns, and I think that Raekwon is going to be so good. And he's not as talented as Derrick Brown, I don't think, but he has the IQ, and that really puts him above a lot of players. He's just so smart. He knows which gaps to hit, when to hit them. He knows which moves to make, and I'm really excited to see how Raekwon plays. With the 19th overall pick, and I really like this one, I have the Colorado boy going to Denver's arch rival, the Oakland Raiders, which will actually be the Las Vegas Raiders. Laviska Shenault with the 19th overall pick. I love Chenault's game. People compare him to Megatron while also saying that he has the speed of guys like Tyreek Hill. Just an overall beast. His jump balls and his ability to get up over defensive backs and just come down with the ball is absurd. And he also has the ability to play in the slot and just burn guys. And I really like that. He's just so versatile and really fun to watch. And I'm excited to see how he fits in Oakland. With the 20th overall pick, I have the Carolina Panthers going safety here and getting Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. Very good player. If Delpit's off the board, which I'm sure he will be, someone is going to take Delpit before 20, or else they're dumb. I think that the next best safety in this class is Xavier McKinney, very talented player, and I think he'll really help that Carolina secondary get that boost that they need and really take that Carolina defense to the next level. With the 21st overall pick, and I really like this pick for Indianapolis, I have the Colts getting edge rusher Terrell Lewis out of Alabama, an insane edge rusher, pretty low on a lot of people's boards, but that doesn't bother me. I think he's a fantastic player, and I think he has a knack to getting to the quarterback like a lot of these guys in the draft. I'm excited to see how he plays, and he has just this whole kind of fire under his belly that is unlike any other player in this draft. With the 22nd overall pick, I have the Eagles going with cornerback Trayvon Diggs out of Bama. Yes, that's right. That's the third Alabama player in a row. Just a fantastic player. Great ball skills, like I've said about the other cornerbacks. He's a bit young. He needs to be groomed, but honestly, the Eagles need a cornerback, and they're going to find it in Trayvon Diggs. With the 23rd overall pick, this is a no-brainer for the Bills. They need a running back of the future, and Jonathan Taylor is that guy. I love Devin Singletary, but he is nothing compared to Jonathan Taylor, and I think it's just going to be too hard for the Bills to pass up on that. They could go the wide receiver route. However, if Chenault's taken, CD's taken, and Judy's taken, I don't see them going any other way. So we're going to go with Jonathan Taylor. Up next at 24 overall, we have the Ravens going with linebacker Dylan Moses out of Alabama. Moses would probably be a top 10 pick if it weren't for his torn ACL at the start of the season. However, that did occur, which is a bummer to see. I liked him a lot last year, but I still think he's first-round caliber if he declares. He is only a junior, so coming off this injury, it wouldn't be a surprise if he decided to stay his senior year. Also, wouldn't be a shock if he came out for the draft. Regardless, no matter when he comes out, he's going to be a first-round talent. Very excited to see how he plays. Ravens just traded away linebacker Kenny Young in the Marcus Peters trade, and I know Kenny Young wasn't necessarily their one and only starting linebacker, but he was their only young guy with a lot of potential, I think. And I think Dylan Moses is just going to fill this gap that C.J. Mosley has left in Baltimore. At number 25, with their third pick in the first round, I have the Miami Dolphins going with edge rusher Kayvon Chason out of LSU. This guy's a nose for the quarterback, really explosive off the line. I think it will be a good piece to start off this Miami defense rebuild. At number 26, I really like this pick a lot. I have the Jaguars getting Gardner Minshew or Nick Foles, whoever the hell is going to be starting there next year. The deep threat, Henry Ruggs, probably one of the most explosive wide receivers in college football. So fast, probably almost 4.2 something speed. It's definitely 4.3, might be under 4.3. Wouldn't be surprised. He's just so talented. Uh, Alabama's offense right now consists of hitting him on the slant route and watching him go. So I'm really excited to see Henry Ruggs in the NFL, and I think Jacksonville would be a perfect fit for him. They already have DJ Chark, who's kind of developing into that route runner kind of guy. He can go over the middle more, and Ruggs is going to be the slant guy or just the street guy. And I think it would be really fun to watch that Jaguars offense if Gardner Minshew continues to progress. With the 27th overall pick, I have the 49ers getting their cornerback of the future in Paulson Adebo. Really good ball skills on this kid. A name that not a lot of people know about in the cornerback room for this first round, but it's such a stacked cornerback class, and I really wouldn't be shocked to see this guy go in the first round. A big fan of his. Just has a nose for the football, and his coverage skills are really good. He plays great zone coverage, which is kind of shocking. Considering the Stanford type defense, but I really like the way he plays, and I think it will be perfect for the Niners if they can get them. With the 28th overall pick, and I like this pick a lot, Tylan Wallace, wide receiver out of Oklahoma State, going to New Orleans to match up with Mike Thomas on that Saints offense. Just another guy who's just so explosive off the line of scrimmage. Great route runner, short, medium, deep, whatever you need, he can do it. And I'm excited to see what he brings to the table in the NFL. With the 29th overall pick, and this pick is going to make the Chiefs' offense literally unfair. They're going to get Travis Etienne out of Clemson. Finally, the running back that they needed to go along with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, take some of that weight off Patrick Mahomes' shoulders. I'm really excited to see what he does in the NFL. And if he goes to the Chiefs, that offense will be scary. With the 30th overall pick, I'm going to go with the Packers getting their tight end of the future, Bryson Hopkins. There's a lot of tight ends that circulate who can go in the first round. It could be Bryson Hopkins. It could be Grant Calcaterra out of Oklahoma. It could be Albert Okwuegbunam out of Missouri. Just those three kind of transition in and out of the first round for me. I went with Bryson Hopkins here. He's played very good this year, especially in Rondale Moore's absent in recent weeks. But I'm excited to see if the Packers can draft their tight end of the future, replace Jimmy Graham, and finally get this young kid that is not only a great route runner, but is also a great blocker. With the 31st overall pick, if Creed Humphrey falls here, there's not a doubt in my mind that the Seahawks will draft him to get a little interior protection for their boy Russell Wilson. Great run blocker, great pass blocker. Gets Jalen Hurts out of trouble a lot and opens a hole for those Oklahoma running backs. So I'm excited to see if he can help the Seahawks offensive line kind of be one of their final pieces on that offensive line and really solidify it. That'd be fun to watch. And then finally, with the 32nd overall pick, if he is still here, there's not a doubt in my mind Belichick will take Jake Fromm to back up Brady until he is ready to be an NFL quarterback. Listen, Brady is obviously great. Not enough can be said about what he's done for the league and what he's done as a player and all the accomplishments he's made. But in reality, his time has to come to an end at some point in New England. And why I love this Fromm pick is because they're not going to be able to get Fromm in the second round. That's pretty obvious. Especially if they're picking last in the second round, then they're not going to be able to get him. And if you have a guy like Jake who can learn under Brady for a couple of years, kind of be groomed into a quarterback that can be very good in the NFL, then why pass up on that opportunity? I think Belichick's smarter than that, and I think he'll take him. Not a lot of holes on that Patriots team, so why not try to try starting to plug the ones that may appear a little later down the road. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. This is my mock draft 2.0. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like. And if you want to see more content, please subscribe. See you guys next time.